Biofriendly podcast. It's the Biofriendly podcast.
I was working on a Wednesday on a podcast show. That much is true.
Can this be a show where we just sit here and take a little snooze?
You got it.
Okay.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. This has been... There's got to be ASMR channels where they just sleep.
Or they're just sleeping.
There's probably
There's
people
weirdos.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a weirdo.
I mean, I definitely...
I'd probably listen to that.
I would imagine there's people that it would help them fall asleep to listen to somebody else sleep, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Why not? Was it Clayton or was it you? One of you people...
Right? Which one?
One of you people shared with us the band that went like that, defied the Spotify system by creating a song that was only silence.
It wasn't me who
Clayton.
shared it. It must have been Clayton. Where it was literally an album of...
An album? It's like, I think it was a song, so you could put it on repeat and go to bed to it.
And
they would just count cash.
Yeah, they basically broke the Spotify algorithm, and
Right.
they became
They broke
the
the rule of the artist shall not be... the artist shall not make money or something. The artist shall not be... I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
Some
but it's
rule
great.
like that.
It was some guy who was trying to break the system and make sure that he got his money back.
I can
from Spotify.
imagine Clayton listening to this right now and just pulling out his hair because details. This is the difference. This is why Clayton, when in our bold partnership, would be the director.
Right. It's the details.
Is because he would like iron in on finite little details, which I'm good at when I'm sitting down and focusing on the overall project. But off the cuff, I think that when my job is. Because in acting, usually, particularly in projects like we always did, the job was always to have your improv brain ready, like your fat.
Acting is reacting, right? No,
acting is reacting.
Sorry, go on.
We don't want to go down that trail.
No.
No, but like you want that part of your brain that just can take information and then process quickly and then come up with stuff right away. And that isn't necessarily a very detail oriented or organized brain. It's one that kind of grabs at the first thing it sees and then makes sense of it as fast as possible.
Yeah, it's madness in there.
It's madness, and it's organized madness, and that's when, particularly in shows like Good Cops, where we write our best, is where the organized madness was going. So that, and when we start this podcast, I turn off the organized brain completely and go into like this
pure improv mode.
Sort of, right?
Yeah.
Because we just want to be able to give a good show for you, the
which
audience.
we rarely do. But thanks for
we're not known for it.
Thanks for coming back. We appreciate it.
I mean, look, we made it to the Smithsonian somehow.
We
so
did.
Obviously,
we know that happened.
Something happened.
Yeah.
But Clayton is
good at details,
meticulous on the details.
Yes.
So if you ask Clayton about something like this, he'll know.
He'll be able to tell
the
you.
band. He'll know the person who was interviewed. He'll know the network it was on, and he'll know like the details of. And so then when he hears us do this show, because he listens all the time, we know because he sends us messages saying how we
enjoyed this aspect or that we screwed this up or whatever.
So he's listening right now, pulling his hair out, probably,
and going like, "You guys are blowing it. I gave you that story. I told you exactly what happened."
And there's probably some poor guy who could use the pub right now, who we're not giving any pub.
Yeah. Sorry.
So, anyways, we may fix that later. Maybe we'll put it on the paint on the screen.
Maybe we'll fix it. Maybe we'll leave it in. Maybe we'll delete it. Who knows? But no, we'll leave it in.
Are we going to get thrown out of the environmental conference?
I do want to call out. This is the funny thing.
Drinking our Starbucks.
I'll be honest, and I'm gonna be confessional to you guys right now. The ones who watch the show, you'll see that Noel has a warm coffee cup, and I have the cold version from the Bucks of Star.
We did.
And
there's one right down the street, and it's open. We're in a bit of a lockdown at present.
Yeah, but you can go in and you can order things to go, and so we did that. But I was going to say, right before we started rolling the show, I was like, well, maybe I should pour this into a mug, and that way the audience won't know that we're using the single-use plastic cup and the paper cup. But Noel was right. He was like, no, we're human beings, and right now you can't bring a thermos or reusable cup into coffee shops because of the pandemic. And if you suddenly get a hankering for some coffee, this is what you get. And so we wanted to be real with you guys.
We want to be genuine.
Yeah.
As much
We're
as
not
we
faking
can.
it, man.
As much as we can,
I mean, I wanted to lie to you, but Noel said, no. I wanted to. He was like, we cannot.
I think it's only fair, right?
Yeah,
if we're asking our audience to try to embrace new things, and accepting that they won't always be able to, then when we fail, we should show that we've also done that. But in failing, it's a peppermint mocha, and it's quite delicious.
It's delicious, and my iced coffee is so refreshing. It was so needed. So so we do want to keep it real.
Recording in the afternoon,
yeah.
So we also had a little kick in the head, to speed us up because we're a little
dragon a little bit.
We are dragons
because we're dragons. Well, because we normally record kind of like first thing in the morning. We're feeling peppy and ready to go.
Poppy.
But recording in the afternoon, yeah, exactly,
ready to go.
But today. It's sleepy time.
No.
No.
Committed.
We're committed. We're going.
We're getting our coffee into our brains cells, and we're gonna deliver the goods.
We're gonna deliver the goods, and this is gonna be a fun one, or at least I think a very interesting topic today, Noel.
Yes. What are we doing?
We're talking about toys.
That's so Christmassy and fantastic.
Right? We wanted to find something that we hadn't covered yet, and something that was good for the holidays, and toys are perfect for this time of year, right?
Heck yeah, toys are perfect. This is the most wonderful time of the year where toys are everywhere.
Exactly.
Toys in every store.
Exactly. It's perfect. Before we dig into the subject, though, I want to know what your favorite toy was when you were a kid.
I would have to say Omega Supreme Transformer.
Transformers.
It was. I like Transformers were my number one, and I also loved He-Man.
Yeah, that was my choice.
Yeah,
that was my pick.
Was it yours? Oh,
He-Man.
He-Man.
No. Go on with your Transformers.
No. Now, if I had to choose one, it would have been Transformers.
Yeah.
I loved Transformers. I loved the cartoon show. I loved the characters. I loved collecting them. I was obsessed. I'm still obsessed. I actually have a rule to this day.
He has a rule
that Christmas is a failure if I have not received a Transformer toy from somebody.
I love it. Yeah. So you get something Transformers every year?
Every year, somebody in my family gives me a Transformer. I've gotten one every year but one.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, as Transformers, I was big into that as well. But on the flip side, the one that was the bigger one for me was He-Man. I was super into He-Man. And it's funny because while I was thinking of this, I loved the He-Man action figures. I loved him so much. And suddenly I had that moment where I was thinking about them.
Yeah.
And I remembered that there was Battle Damage He-Man.
Yeah.
Do you remember Battle Damage He-Man?
Yeah, he was great. You hit him once and then it would make one stripe, twice, two stripes, three times. He's gone.
He totally remembers it. That's exactly.
Absolutely.
And I thought that was kind of a... It was,
and they had a battle armor Skeletor too.
Yeah,
they could fight each other.
Yeah, and I think now I look back on it and I go, that's kind of a funny thing to care about, but at the time it was the coolest ever. It had this chest on the action figure that it was like it's like a plate, and then when you would hit it, it would flip. And it would change to one that had gotten a hit from like a sword. Yeah. And you would hit it again, and it had another slash on it. So it looked like your characters were fighting, but they were just making blows on their armor. Yeah. And it was like, I remember thinking that was amazing.
That was huge for me because I was one of those kids who would, like, I would save up allowance money to go collect the different ones because I wanted to be able to make my own stories and have as many characters as possible.
Yeah.
To go do, like, to create my battles and have my stories and have whatever the adventure was. Yeah. So having like all of them was great, and I missed out on season 1 of He-Man when it all started. I got He-Man.
Yeah.
But I never got a Skeletor.
Yeah. Oh.
And that's a disaster if you're trying to make, because you could make stories where he was battling with, Beast Man or Merman or whatever.
Yeah, but never like the big baddie.
But I couldn't do the big baddie, and that was such a problem. And when Battle Armor He-Man came out, I was like, oh my God, I can get Skeletor.
Yeah.
There he is. And I did. And I got Battle Armor Skeletor. And it was a big deal because now I had somebody who could lead the bad guys. Got some serious trouble. Some serious strife.
Serious strife.
Yeah.
It was great. These are the good old days. I know this is a little tangential, but I think it's important for us to...
It's worth it.
It is worth it, like we do.
Yeah.
It's important for us to, dig into those memories about the toys that we had as a kid.
Well, I'll tell you
and how important they were.
Omega Supreme specifically was my favorite.
Yeah.
Because that year, I didn't know... I was not at the place where I'm supposed to be for Santa.
Yeah.
So it was scary because I was like
whether you were naughty or nice.
I asked for this thing, but I'm not at home, and it was like a whole.
Oh, not naughty or nice. You mean you were away from your home?
I was away from my home, right?
I thought you were saying you were like a bad boy that year, and you're like, I'm asking Santa for it, and he may not give it to me. But you were saying you're away from home.
It just happened to work because we traveled a lot. When I was younger during the holidays, and we were traveling on Christmas. Mm-hmm. So. There was no tree. I wasn't in a place
where
he could deliver it.
Right.
And it freaked me out because I had wanted this toy.
Yeah.
Like this was the
big deal.
the biggest, strongest,
Huge.
best Transformer, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm desperate for this thing. And I freaked out. And then I remember getting home, and there at home, reliable old Santa pulled through, and there he was. There was Omega Supreme. And so it was just it was a magical, amazing moment for me, and it was a big moment for belief with me.
Yeah.
And I was and I will always remember that Omega Supreme is the greatest gift I've probably ever gotten.
That is wonderful. Yeah. See, that's why these are special moments on the show, right? Where the audience can really get to know us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do want to say, before we dig into sustainability in toys and toy manufacturing companies, I want you to know that this doesn't really have anything to do with Santa's toys, because Santa's toys are made in the North Pole, and they are, of course, made with magical, wonderful ingredients and things that are put together. We're talking about the toys when you're going to the toy store and you see the ones there, because Santa's got it under control.
Yeah,
like what you're getting from Santa is the good stuff.
You're covered, yeah.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about that. So
that's environmentally friendly by default.
Yeah, so if you're listening today, we're really just talking about you went to the toy store. This is what's being made out there. So
hopefully there's some consultation being involved too, right?
Yeah,
They should be consulting with Santa as to how we can improve the
I think the toy companies are starting to listen to Santa, because you're going to hear that there's a growing trend to fix the problem of toy waste. Are you excited?
I'm excited. I might even have some inside baseball insight on this one.
Okay, that's what I want to hear.
I'm very fortunate in life in that, being a toy addict as I am, I grew up with many other toy addicts.
Yeah.
And those other ones who are many of them engineers and like graphic designers, I actually happen to know like four. No, I know four. I know four different
people who
toy designers.
Really?
I swear to God, I was in a band with two.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
So I know a lot of people in the toy industry, which is really odd because not a lot of people know anyone in the toy industry. I happen to know. I know I've got it down. I've got everybody.
You got everybody.
So,
it's got them covered. So a lot of this stuff,
I'm not going to throw. I'm going to probably, if I hear anything interesting, I'll probably give you some inside baseball. But I just want everybody in the audience to know that I'm not going to, just in case. I know that a lot of these companies are in the middle of their program, like in the middle of figuring out exactly how they're going to do it and how they're going to pull it together.
Yep.
So some stuff is not really necessarily for sure. Or anyway, so they've got to have their official statement, which they don't have yet. So I'm not going to reveal names of anybody that I'm talking about, and I'm not going to also tell you which companies, but I might be able to be helpful in this conversation.
Maybe we should have done the whole podcast like us in the shadows with our voices distorted, like, well, the thing I know about Lego is, well, as we dive in, what I'm going to say, I was going to say is, I don't know if everybody who listens were aware. But the toy business is big bucks. It is a $20 billion a year industry and growing. That was like a statistic I found from 2017, 2018. So
that's actually exciting to me.
Yeah,
because
it's a big
I was
business.
worried as I got into my 20s that the toy business was going to go away because of the popularity of video games.
Right.
But then I had kids, and you realize kids still want toys. And then they kind of grow into video games, like they do. So there's a huge need for toys. Yeah.
There's a huge need for toys. Yeah, here I found it. The toy industry is massive. It hit $20.36 billion in sales, and this article comes from 2017. So this is when that was. So it's a big business, but as you can imagine, there are challenges because so many toys are wrapped in plastic, the packaging that comes with them, and then the toys within themselves. Now, I would say that for most of us, a company like Lego or companies that make really good plastic, Hasbro, those are going to last a long time. You're gonna have those from one kid to the next. They're going to be handed down. They're going to be you're going to have people who collect Legos. It's
good quality.
It's good quality stuff. So I'm not as concerned with that as I am the temporary cheapy stuff. The stuff that's going to last a day or two. The
stuff you get at McDonald's.
Yeah, the stuff you get at McDonald's.
Yeah.
And I think that problem, in a way, was exacerbated by these YouTube channels, this popularity of these kids that open things daily. Like being sent little tchotchkes and little toys that are like in these little plastic bags, just open. And it's like, that's something that we've got to get away from. Yeah. Right? We can't individually wrap every little tiny thing in plastic.
Right.
We got to come up with a better solution. And I think, thankfully, That's what people are trying to do. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and that's doubly complicated by so toys get stolen.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big problem. Like, one of the big issues and one of the reasons why, and you as a dad, I'm sure are familiar with this, why on Christmas morning, when you're helping your small children open presents, that you keep cutting your fingers on, like, you just destroy your hands trying to open up the impossible to open toys. They're designed to be difficult to get out. Because people would it used to be that they would just cut out the back of the
package
thing,
and then bada bing, bada boom.
Slip out the toy and walk out.
Battle armor He-Man.
I've got him and I'm done. And then you're sitting there with an empty package. So
that's not good.
They had to fix that, and that has added more packaging.
Right, exactly. But so this article came from Forbes, and it just basically said green is the hottest color in the toy box as manufacturers embrace sustainability.
All right.
So this is let me see. Okay, the largest toy manufacturers: Hasbro, Mattel, Lego, and MGA Entertainment.
MGA. That's right. Kenner's part of Hasbro, aren't they?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
They bought it
because
they have the Star Wars rights.
They do. MGA does.
Kenner does.
Oh, Kenner does.
That's why because they still put the name on the
You're
toys,
right.
but I think they're owned by Hasbro. I think.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
MGA. Yep.
They have promised to switch to plant-based or recycled plastics and to reduce packaging waste. Hasbro has pledged...
By when?
This is it.
Okay.
Hasbro has pledged to phase out all plastic packaging by 2022.
Okay.
All plastic packaging.
Yeah.
That's not the toy itself.
Yeah.
Like, the toy is still going to have to be made from certain types of plastics, but the packaging...
It'll be cardboard.
Yeah, they're going to try to go to cardboard, which
still
has problems.
Yeah.
We know that. Mattel has set a goal of using only recycled, recyclable, or bio-based plastics in all its toys and packaging by 2030.
Yeah.
So they're giving themselves a little bit more runway here, which is...
I got to be honest with you. I think that's the only one that's realistic.
Yeah. I think 2022 is a bit ambitious for a company as big as Hasbro.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, look, they're probably going to rely heavily on cardboard. I think that's my guess. Whereas others are going to work their way to it. But these ambitious goals we talk about a lot. We talk about it with other big companies, and
we talk about the date dropping.
You say it, but what does that mean?
Like Amazon.
Yeah. Exactly.
Kermit. MGA Entertainment unveiled a new line of little Tykes kitty bikes, ride-on cars, slides, and outdoor toys made from recycled plastic.
Yeah.
So MGA, these are all these companies that are trying to make these things happen.
Right.
Now, but what I wanted to touch on, and this one's been in the news recently, was Lego.
Okay.
Lego's actually really trying to do a big effort towards it. So this was about 3 years ago. Lego pumped $155 million into a new sustainable materials center.
Wow.
So they invested in this new thing. Because if you have been, unless you've been living under a rock, Lego's like the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
It didn't used to be. There was a time where Legos were kind of phasing out and kind of not that big of a deal, but because of Lego movies, Lego games, there's just people have gone Lego crazy. Yeah, Brandon, baby.
Yeah.
But it's really popular, so they've been able to spend that money. And a couple years ago, they were able to create 2% of their toys, which were trees, plants, out of a sugarcane-based plastic.
Oh, cool.
So they added that in.
Okay.
But that was just the start. You know, they were saying, you know, this is what's so interesting. So let's start with the good news. I'm going to read this.
I love it.
Start with the good news. Those bushes and trees really are a big deal.
Yeah.
It took about 2 years for Lego to settle on the sustainable polyethylene that goes into them, because it's polyethylene made from sugarcane, which uses ethanol produced from sugarcane rather than petroleum. That time was spent sourcing, testing, and perhaps most importantly, figuring out how to produce the bricks in quantity. So it said, yeah, I know it's only 2%, but that's a large amount of toys that they're making that are this biodegradable thing. But this is the problem that they run into.
Okay.
So there's a type of plastic, which is Lego plastic, called ABS.
Okay.
I don't know what that stands for. I probably could look it up, but it's probably chemicals in a row.
Okay.
It's important to note that exact bioplastic replacements for the majority of Lego's remaining stock do not exist.
Interesting.
And so they're being honest and they're saying, look, we've invested in this lab to try to figure out how we can make better plastics, but this ABS plastic that they use, it holds color. It stays long. It stays in the shape that it's supposed to be. It's not as easy as everybody thinks to be like, hey, we can swap everything out for something better because it's good stuff.
It's so fascinating that you said that, okay? Because this is a discussion I had with someone else
Yeah.
that happens to relate to this topic perfectly. Okay?
Give it to me.
So you go to Whole Foods
Right.
and you have the plastic fork that they give you that's all natural and
Yeah, it looks kind of
made from plant products.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then you use it and you eat it and you bite and it's like, ugh, you're like, well, it doesn't bend right and feels weird in my
And
mouth.
sometimes they break in my mouth.
It doesn't hold up to the and it's kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you live with it because it's green, it's biodegradable, whatever.
Better choice.
And they gave it to you and it's free, so whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's not free. At Whole Foods, you spend $5 for an apple.
Yeah.
Because that's part of their marketing, part of their image is here's the fork. So you get a crappy fork that is better for the environment when you throw it away, and that's great.
Yeah.
But it costs you you pay for it somewhere.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So the reason it's a crappy fork isn't because they want to give you a crappy fork.
Yeah.
It's because the development of plastic over the last 100 years since we started making plastic products has resulted in more money, more efficiency, more perfection, and a product that can be molded and used exactly the way you want it to be so that it will last forever.
Right.
So that the same Transformers I got when I was 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 are still in perfectly good shape today.
Yes.
Because it's really high quality stuff because they figured out how to do it.
Yeah.
They have not figured out even close
Yeah.
how they're going to do that with other more eco-friendly plastics.
Exactly.
So because of that, you come to the issue, and the issue that the example he gave is really interesting. He's like, if you're going to go right now to Walmart and you're going to pick up a set of dishes,
Yeah.
okay, or let's say cups, right? You want to get 4 cups for a picnic. You right now probably expect I can go to Walmart and pick up 4 cups that will last for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
That are made of plastic.
Yeah.
For like $8.
Sure.
Maybe $10.
Yeah.
Okay, and you've got them, and they're there, and they hold the hot liquid or the cold liquid. They keep their shape. They look fine. They're great. They're wonderful. Okay, but they are made of plastic.
Right.
So that same comparable, not even comparable, to make then something from a biodegradable, one of these new materials. How much would you be willing to pay for that, right? Like,
Right.
at 20% more, if it's $10.
Yeah.
So how many people get? Most people are like, okay, that's fine. Okay, now if it's $12, yeah, a few people aren't getting it on. Maybe some people will. Let's get it to like $15.
Yeah.
Now, middle class people probably like, I can deal with that.
Yeah.
When it gets to $20, you probably are like, I don't know if it's worth $20 for 4 plastic cups.
Right.
And the stuff's becoming worthwhile.
Yeah.
But it's not $20. To do that is going to cost you like $30.
Right.
So who's spending $30 for 4 biodegradable? Very, 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 very few people.
Yeah.
And the quality of the cups
Isn't that good?
sucks.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not good.
Yeah.
Right. So it kind of comes back to this issue of what are the supporting technologies? What exists? What's out there? What can what can you do to transfer an entire industry? Because if you're Lego,
Right.
you can't. You cannot put out Legos that fall apart.
No.
4 or 5 months after you've sold them. You can't, because part of the whole thing that makes Lego better than anybody else
Is they last.
Is that they last and that they're perfect.
They are perfect.
They click together exactly where they're supposed to, exactly where you expect them to, and they make a perfect puzzle. You can create whatever you want exactly as promised every single time.
Yep.
So they only get 2% because they personally, with their budget, can only produce 2%.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah, and I that's what I think is so interesting about this topic that I was surprised that they stumbled into, which is I'm happy that Lego said, look, the plastic we use, technology to replace it just isn't here. We're working on it. We're doing everything we can to figure out how we can do it. But you can't suddenly release a bunch of sugarcane Lego bricks out into the world, and then everybody buys their sets, and then 6 months later they fall apart, because then you're not really solving any problems.
You'll ruin
at
your
all.
company.
Yeah, you're gonna. Yeah, exactly.
You'll ruin your company. People will stop buying your product.
Exactly.
That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
Okay. another great thing. You know this firsthand better than anybody. Yeah. All the times that we've had to go out to different shows or meet different people, or we go to Washington and we talk to businesses or whatever. Whenever we do any of this stuff, have any of them not talked about their green plan or how they want to go green? Right?
Yeah. All of them talk about it.
All have a green plan. Everybody wants to be green. Everybody wants to be. They want to be. We want to be biofriendly. We want to be eco-friendly. We want to be good for the environment. They all do it.
Yeah.
They spend. I mean, look. They focus group everything. These companies have money. To burn on this.
Yeah. Big companies.
They focus group this stuff.
Yeah.
So they ask their consumers, would you pay 20% more? And the answer is no. right? Like this is why McDonald's, this is why Coca-Cola every year wins the #1 plastic polluter award.
Yeah.
Because they've literally, the sustainability director said, we're not switching because our customers don't want us to.
Yeah.
And so they're going to keep being this. Until they get forced to do it.
Until that focus group says, no, we won't take this anymore.
We'll vote with our money. But the thing is, it isn't will we take this anymore? It's will you buy it?
Will you buy it?
Will you spend the money? Yeah. Because that's the bottom line. The companies aren't going to do it if you won't pay for it.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to pay for it. They can't.
Yeah.
They have stockholders, they have employees, they have supplies, they have entire things. They have systems they have to keep running and keep going with, and they're not going to stop doing it if it's going to kill their business. They just can't.
Yeah.
So they won't. So it really does come down to knowing as a listener to a podcast, what are you willing to sacrifice? How much are you willing to put forward yourself in what you buy and in what you do in order to go there?
Yeah.
And when it comes to Whole Foods, you can give away the fork because you've gone ahead and that's an interesting phrase. You can give away the fork.
You can give away the fork, right? That's like if you've priced your goods high enough, you can give away the fork.
Right?
Yeah, that's good.
So you can give away the fork because you have established yourself as we only want customers who can afford a $5 apple.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but that's not like, in order for us to get to a place where a company, a company like Lego can turn around and have an entire, have all of their bricks be a sugar-based plastic that is as reliable and as great as what we're talking about.
Yeah.
They need the supporting technology. They need the time, they need the research, they need the help, and that only comes from people spending money. That comes from dollars. Yeah. Or the other thing that my friend was talking about, he said, or if the government wants to pitch in and start taking some responsibility for that too, rather than, there's a lot of talk about, again, you and I kind of complained about this. Yeah. There's, for all of the interest in greenhouse gas emissions and global warming, and there should be, and there is, and that's correct. Absolutely. That's great. Yeah. There is not support for things like that. There isn't enough support for things like conservation or like, plastic waste or things like that. That's just not, that isn't what, it's not a big enough buzzword. Yeah. It doesn't get you elected. Yeah. So, so these are the challenges.
And that's why, when we talked about toys, obviously places like Toys R Us are gone, but you can still walk down toy aisles in Targets or whatever. And we get out less and less to toy stores. But you realize that there's the problem of the toy itself, the toy. Yeah. But it's the thing that they're going to be able to attack right away is the packaging. That's going to be that faster. Yeah. They can do that right now. They can try to figure out ways, cardboard, get things more, break it down, find a way to make it where it's packaged or wrapped in a way that we're not having to use so much, plastic wrap and I'm sure there's a lot of R&D departments that are finding ways to be like, but it can't be stolen. We need to make sure that you can't steal it too. Right. So that's the challenge there. But when it comes to the toy itself, it's going to be a journey, but one that Hasbro, Mattel, MGA, these companies we know they're trying to figure it out. Lego. We've invested money. We're going to continue to invest money to find that ABS plastic, to find that thing that will work. Absolutely. But it's going to take time.
And they all are. Yes. 100% they all are. I think that within the next year or something, we probably will have, this will probably be announced, right? We'll probably start to hear some serious announcements from some of these companies, and maybe we can get one of these guys to come on to the show and talk about it.
I'd love that.
Which would be really cool. Right?
If you're listening to the show and you work and can come on to the Biofriendly podcast from, excuse me, from any of these companies, we would love it. We would love to hear that that vantage point as to what's going on behind the scenes, because Noel knows some stuff, but we don't want anybody to come kill Noel.
I know the people who know the stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're allowed to talk.
Right, exactly. Because it's a tricky thing. It's a
well,
tricky thing.
it is, because it is still a transition time for the world.
It is.
It is. I don't know, but look, there's a lot you can do though to help the toy industry out, or help the environment out in terms of toys.
Yeah.
Just in your day-to-day actions and what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these toys are really well made.
Yeah.
They really are. I mean, so yes, there are those toys that break apart.
But
there's a lot of G.I. Joes out there without legs where it's just a rubber band and a little.
right. But a lot of them survive.
Yeah.
And last the long time.
They last a long time if if you take decent care of them. And for a lot of people, particularly in the holidays, if you have young children who have toys that they're not using anymore, I mean, don't throw them away. Don't do that. Don't. Like,
donate them.
If you don't throw them away, you are saving the environment.
Yes. Find a way, because somebody wants them. If you've seen Toy Story, a toy always has a home, whether it's a school, or it's a donation center, or it's another kid in the neighborhood who's younger. But like, toys can go on and on and on.
I mean, if you can't think of like places like the Salvation Army, which are everywhere.
Yeah.
They got a box.
Yeah.
And they ask nothing. Just drive up and drop them in the box, and they'll take it from there. And there's tons of places like that. There's toy drives. A lot of times schools will have toy drives because they want to be able to help get toys to other kids who are less fortunate in the district, right?
Yeah.
So there's just keep your ear to the ground and look for toy drives. Look for people who are looking for toys, because that toy that is no longer appropriate for your 8 or 9 year old is something that someone else's 4, 5, or 6 year old is desperate for.
Yeah.
So reuse. This is a huge reuse opportunity. I mean, pass it on, pay it forward, and you are helping the environment.
Yeah, and this is a Jacob opinion and not an official Biofriendly podcast opinion, just mine. But man, the YouTube channels where the kids just open stuff after stuff after stuff, I personally feel like we got to get away from those. I really feel like we got to stop letting our kids see that level of just stuff. That's just my personal opinion. That's like one of those things that once my son started watching it, the moment I glanced over his shoulder, I was like, I got to find something that is way better for him to get into than this. Because it just taught him, like his perception of, we were driving, this before the pandemic, but we were driving by like a Walmart. Yeah. And he was like, that's where, so-and-so gets all the free toys.
Oh, no.
And I was going, this channel is teaching children that, like, you go in there and you just get whatever you want.
Just grab it. Just pick it up. Just take it.
And that was the moment where I was like, that's just not good. It's just not good. So but again, if you're trying to make a channel where your kid's opening toys and you're making a living doing it, then go you. But it's just something I didn't like. It just put a bad taste in my mouth.
Absolutely. Well, but that also then comes back, and this is totally a philosophical thing, and you take it or leave it, because every human's different, every child is different, and parenting techniques will vary, and that's okay.
Sure.
But if your child doesn't understand the value of something, what something is worth, then then you're gonna have issues when you go by, and that's part of the challenge with the young kids, with all young kids. Yeah. I'm sure with with your son, it was like, I was cried. We gotta
figure out,
because it's they when they're so young like that, and particularly with grandparents and the aunties and uncles and all the different people out there they give, and the kids are like, oh man, I'm the bomb. Look at all look at all the stuff I've got. I own the world, and it's you're very fortunate, but you need to understand you're fortunate.
Right. That's not how it is for everybody.
Yeah, and that costs money and takes work. So anyways, it's a challenge out there, man.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, one of the last things I'm going to do before we get out of here is I'm gonna tell you a few things of toy brands that are actually doing the green thing out of the gate.
Yeah.
So they're small.
Yeah.
These are small companies, but ones that you, especially if you have little kids, I know you've heard of this toy company before. Melissa and Doug.
Yeah.
We had tons of Melissa and Doug stuff when the kids were little.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a company that's already trying to do the naturally made, from the wood. It's not stuff that's bad for the environment.
Right.
So that's a company that you could support. There's also a company called Green Toys out there that they make a lot of their stuff out of recycled.
All of their toys are green?
Well, yeah, they're all green. That's
only make
it's
green
the only
toys.
color it comes in.
Wow.
It's crazy. Their Smurfs
Yeah?
are all green.
Green Smurfs?
Yeah. Wow. But their Hulk line is safe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Good.
No, it just says made from post-consumer plastic, recycled milk bottles. Green Toys has safety and planet at heart. So that's a toy. Then there's one called Tender Leaf Toys.
Huh?
Tender Leaf. Okonorm.
Okay.
That's a cool name.
It is.
And Plan Toys.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it. So those were a couple that you could know. But I was going to say, before we're out of here, it is the holidays. And we touched on something just a moment ago about being fortunate. And I think that this is a good time to remind people that there's a lot of less fortunate people in the world during this time of year.
Particularly right now.
Right now.
Particularly in 2020.
So if you are a family and you have had a fortunate year, this is the perfect time of year to give back. And there are countless charities and organizations and places that will take your toys. Salvation Army, Goodwill. There are kids out there that would be happy, would be thrilled to have a toy that's been used or played with before because, that's still special to them. So
Yeah.
I did want to say that.
Absolutely. I think this is one of those years where Santa probably does need a little help. He's definitely coming.
Yeah, he's coming for all you kids.
He fights through.
Nothing can stop Santa.
No, he fights through no matter what.
Yeah.
He fights through no matter what. But if there was ever a time where the guy could use a little help, like a little, because I'm sure there's some elves that are in the infirmary, dealing with some stuff, and they're
for
still
sure.
making it. So like whatever you can do to help lighten the load, to help bring some joy and some love and some help.
Do it.
Try to do it, particularly this year, if you can. And if you can't,
That's okay.
again, no worries. That's
worries.
just do your best to keep on keeping on, and we'll
We'll get through to next year, and
we'll find a way. Yeah, no, it's funny. This is one of those years where it's like more than any year before, and more than I would normally ever, even be comfortable with. It's funny that Talia, she's really my wife. She's really I think we need to don't call in. I'm telling you,
this is a touching moment. Read the room.
Golly,
jeez.
I mean,
go on. No, I'm sorry.
I love our audience.
No, that wasn't. I don't think that was an audience. I think that was a sales call.
Sales call.
Yeah.
Jeez, ridiculous.
Go on. Your wife was saying.
Yeah, no, she's like there's so many. She's getting so many emails from different. From school things and from the kids, like the math stuff, and from the gym and from all these different places where it's like people need a high five. People need a can you do a gift card for this thing? Can you donate this thing? And it's like, and even if you can, it's sort of one of those things where it's like, I mean. We sort of got to.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's important to give back.
Yes.
And this is the perfect season to do it.
It is.
So it's good to do it year round, but this is the time where you really feel that like your heart grows big and you want to give.
Three sizes, even if you're a Grinch.
Yeah, even if you're a Grinch.
Yeah. And it's also the time where there's expectation, which makes it even more kind of necessary.
Yeah, right.
Because you've got kids all over the place who've got They're ready for Christmas. So
ready.
they need one.
They're ready.
Yeah. So anyways, I think it's not easy for the toy companies to be green, but you can do your part by if you never throw away a toy.
Ever.
If you just never throw it, make that your rule. I'm never throwing away unless you have worked it if that toy has been played with to the bone.
Yes.
And is just destroyed, then that's okay.
Hasbro's line of trash toys. Play with it once, and then it goes in the garbage.
Exactly.
Yeah. No.
But otherwise,
I agree.
that would be the piece of advice that we'd give. Our little thing you can do from the Biofriendly podcast.
Don't throw them in the trash. Find a new home for them.
Find a new home for the toys that are done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this year in particular, actually, like if you think your kids are on the edge, like it might be a good time to go check with them and be like, hey, let's go through the stuff and see what you have that you're not using anymore.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
share.
Do it. Do it. Well, that was it. There was just a little bit to cover in terms of those articles and stories, but it's inspiring to see that these big companies are going to give it a shot. So you got to be willing to hang in there, everybody, and know that they're doing what they can. And
and you know, like I was saying, vote your dollars. I mean, if you really want something, then you do have to individually be willing to pay for it.
What was it you said? You said get the fork for free, or like
to give the fork away.
Give the fork away.
Yeah.
Give the fork away. Yeah. So this has been the award-winning Biofriendly podcast. See what I did there?
That was really perfect.
I did it up top.
We're featuring greater parasympathetic nerve activity.
More than just charismatic megafauna.
Dolphins don't quit.
Nature is perfect. Look at eggs.
We are y'all inclusive.
Don't mess with Smokey on this show.
The boat won.
We can't win them all, but we'll win the rest. I think that was it.
We can't give the fork away.
We can't give the fork away. We want to give the fork.
We want to give the fork away, but we can't give the fork away.
That's perfect. Can you imagine how jarring our Muppet goodbye is going to be audio-wise?
Oh my God.
After that moment?
Yeah, we definitely need to talk for a minute.
We're going to talk for a minute to get everybody prepared so that the person driving is like, oh my God, swerving. Yeah. Anyway, well, thanks for joining us, you guys. We hope you're having a wonderful holiday season, and there's still more to come.
Don't forget
till we reach the end of the year.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Don't forget to tell your friends about the Biofriendly podcast. If there's someone you know or love who maybe is like, I don't know about this environmentalism thing.
Yeah.
I don't know about the planet.
Yeah.
Or if they just love the planet, but they want something to listen to that gives them some joy in the day, then it's on podcast.
The same rules apply to toys to the Biofriendly podcast. Don't throw us away.
Don't throw us
Hand
away.
us down. Hand us down.
Give us.
Yes.
Give us to those you love.
Pay it forward,
yes.
as they say.
And if you are listening to us on iTunes, and please leave a review.
Leave a review.
Even if it's a bad one, we'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take whatever you want to give us. Yeah. But go and leave us reviews, subscribe, tell your friends, be like, I've learned how to change the world, and it's thanks to these guys. Just nothing big, just that.
Yeah. Just promise them that it's the greatest.
Yeah. Just say, I've recommended many things to you in life, but this is the greatest thing I'll ever
recommend to you.
Ever.
It is a Smithsonian archived show. It's the greatest. If you build their expectation up nice and high, and then give us the problem of dealing with that.
I want to have the audio clip of this is the greatest show.
Oh, that's a good musical.
That'd be good. It is a good musical. It's classic. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
It's the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.